Welcome to our first video battle report for DeepWars. In case you're new to the game, in this first battle report, we'll go over some of the basic mechanics of the game to help illustrate how the game works. We'll use a slightly more instructional style to this battle report, listing out die roll modifiers and things like that to help aid the new player to understand the game. Let's first talk a little bit about the game setting. DeepWars is a 28mm tabletop wargame set in an alternate history of Earth in the late 17th century, where fortune seekers, scientists, and scoundrels have discovered a lost land with an underground sea miles beneath the frozen surface of a southernmost continent. Ancient technology recovered from their first excursions on land has allowed these adventurers to develop new ether-powered dive suits and weapons, and return to the bottom of the underground sea to battle with deadly marine enemies over powerful artifacts, glittering crystals, and golden treasure on the seafloor. Let's talk a little bit about the rule set. This battle report uses the newly released 2.5 version of the core rules. DeepWars is based on the Song of Blades and Heroes tabletop skirmish game rules. Anyone familiar with that rule set will quickly feel at home in DeepWars. DeepWars also has a sister rule set in Shadowsea, which focuses more on land action battles. The two rule sets are fully compatible to make richer gaming experiences. DeepWars uses a straightforward mechanic of two primary stats, quality and combat. Quality is a measure of how able that model can make the most out of each combat turn. Specifically, quality stat is a metric for how likely that model is able to get multiple actions during its activation. Any model can do a simple activation and take one action. You can, however, take a chance and try to get more actions, and that's where your quality stat comes in. You roll up to 3d6 and try to get more actions. The more dice you get at or above your quality, the more actions you can take. If you get more failures than successes, you immediately hand over the turn to the other player. So a low quality stat is better. Your model's combat score is a measure of how strong your attacks are in combat. The higher the number, the better. Your combat stat, plus any modifiers, are added to 1d6 combat die to determine your total combat score. The player with the higher combat score wins the combat. There are also secondary stats of strength, resistance, and will, which come up in various scenarios of the game. Now that you have a little bit more context of the game, let's jump right into the two forces that will be battling it out in this battle report, the Ancients of Atalan and the Dark Mariners.
So this is the Atalan force that I assembled today for this battle report. It's based around their constructs and mechas, which is why you see so many of them on the table. Atalan armies in general have weaker armor than most forces and lower combat stats, but they make up for it by having a bunch of eclectic war gear as well as psychic powers. So this force is designed, like I said, around their mechs, so it has more staying power than what you'll see in most of the Atalan forces. To lead off with this army, this is Matlul the Elder. He is the animist of the force, so he does empowering stuff to mech. He is quality 2, combat 2. His special abilities are he gives improved activation for artificial mech constructs, and he can utilize elemental conjuration spells. So this is the Manta form, which is a heavy Atalan mech, hunter-killer mech. It is quality 4, combat 4. It is tough, so it has extra wounds, and it is also a big model. It is equipped with a pair of hyper-cavitation cannons, which are a long-range anti-armor gun. It then also has a beam cannon, which is a more precise sniper weapon. This model is the Chiriniform, which is a light assault mech. It also has the big special rule. It is quality 4, combat 3. It is equipped with lightning torpedoes, which have the shock special rule and the homing special rule, which is an interesting one. We'll see that in our battle report. And for melee, it is equipped with big mechanical jaws. This is the Exoform salvage mech. It has special abilities related to Salvager, which is for certain objective types during the game. It also has the big special rule. It is quality 4, combat 2. It is equipped with a mechanical claw, which has the grab special rule, and a micro edge blade. Next up we have the Chiriniform stealth mechs. I took 2 on my list. They are quality 4, combat 3. They have the electric skin special rule, which causes opponents that hit them in close combat or are hit by them in close combat to become transfixed. They also have the stealth rule, which allows them to hide when they're next to cover. The next model is the Acolyte of the Ethers, which is an Atalan scientist. She has quality 4, combat 2. She has the scientist special rule, which has an effect on certain mission objectives, as well as the ability to repair devices. She also comes equipped with a flux dampener, which allows her to pass through elemental and psychic conjuration zones without taking damage. This is the Conjurer of the Ethers, who is an Atalan sorceress. She has quality 3, combat 2. She has the Conjurer special ability, which allows her to use elemental and psychic conjurations. She also has the Dodge special rule, which makes her more difficult to hit, and is equipped with a cloaking field, which enables her to go into hiding and can hypnotize enemy models.
This is a roughly 800-point Dark Mariner force as the opposing side in this battle report. The Dark Mariners are an ancient and twisted race of biomechanical constructs and mutated organisms. Essentially, this force was used from the DeepWars Dark Mariners Deluxe box set and a command model, as well as a couple of big centerpiece models that I really loved the look of and really had fun painting up. This is the Dark Mariner's Vanguard Captain. He is quality 3, combat 3. He is a leader, and he has deep eyes, which allows him to see through the depths of the abyss. He also has psychic command. His weapons are a disruptor pistol, which is a short-ranged, highly powerful gun, and he has tentacles that he can ensnare and tangle his foes. This is a cephalid scientist. He is a quality 3, combat 2 model. He has a disruptor pistol, which is a short-range shooting weapon, and tentacles to ensnare and entangle his enemies. He is a scientist, which allows him to help repair items and help out with other objectives within the game. This is a Vanguard Marine. He is quality 4, combat 3. He is a standard trooper in the Dark Mariners faction. He has a disruptor, which is a short-range shooting weapon, and a repulsor shield, which deflects attacks, and he also has a spear as his close combat weapon. This is the Annihilator Biomech. He is a big artificial biomech construct for the Dark Mariners. He is quality 4, combat 4. He is big, he has deep eyes, and his weapons are a disruptor blaster, which has armor break 2, a big claw, which is a hand-to-hand weapon, and tentacles, which can entangle and ensnare his enemies. This brute is the heavy combat biomech. He is quality 4 and combat 4. He is big, he is an artificial biomech, and he has Sunder and Tough special rules. He has many damage boxes, and his weapons are disruptor cannons, which is a short-range blast weapon, a big claw, and big tentacles, which break and entangle their opponents. This is an octopod biomech. He is a quality 4, combat 3 artificial biomech construct. He has a plasma torch, which is a very short-range armor-breaking weapon. He also has tentacles, which can entangle and ensnare his enemies. He also has stealth, which is very critical, and we will watch that in action in this battle report. These little guys are cephalid scavengers. They are quality 4, combat 2 monsters that allow scientists, engineers, healers, animists, and biomancers repair things with greater accuracy. They have pincers as their primary weapon. This last beastie I had a great time painting, and I just love this model. He is a nautiloid chrysalid, and he's a quality 3, combat 2 model for the Dark Mariners. He is a telepath, he has deep eyes, and he's big. His weapons are a disruptor cannon, which is a short-range blast weapon with armor break of 4, a big spiky beak, which he can use to crack open his opponents, as well as big tentacles, which can entangle and ensnare his opponents. He's also a coward, which means we'll probably see him running away at some point in this battle.
We have finished setting up the table for our scenario, and our scenario today is Conquer. Per the rulebook, this scenario is all about holding territory on the seafloor. Each player starts on the side of the map and tries to conquer and control a zone in the middle of the table, and that's the scenery feature that we have set up there in the middle. The goal here is to get within a medium stick of the terrain feature in the middle. You score 1 victory point for each enemy model killed within the objective zone, and you score 1 victory point for each personality model in the objective zone at the end of the game turns. We have also each selected 2 special operations, which we keep hidden, and those will be revealed during the course of the gameplay.
All right, we're going to roll for attacker and defender. High die wins attacker or defender choice. John will be the metallic die, and I will be the blue die. So we're going to go ahead and roll for attacker defender. Here we go. I think that's a re-roll. Let's do that again. I believe John got a 6, so he gets to pick.
I will be the attacker.
All right, here we go. We're going to deploy. All right, we have deployed and we are ready to play. Let's start with the attacker's deployment. John?
These are my attacking Ataláns. We deployed mostly around the terrain features so that we have a clean line of sight to the objective in the center of the table, and my stealth models will be able to get into terrain features.
All right, so the Ataláns are deployed and they are the attackers. The Dark Mariners are the defenders. I had deployed within 1 short stick of my table edge. Essentially everyone's on the line except the Vanguard Captain, who's up on top. And my other guys are hidden behind terrain features here, and the Octopod Biomech is hiding behind the columns. And we are ready to get started. Here we go with turn 1. All right, we're going to start turn 1 with some movement. Use the medium move stick for most of the Atalan models. And moving up. John's turn 1 still. He's been doing simple activations, getting his 1 action out of all of his models, but now he wants to do multiple actions in an activation, so he needs to roll. John, tell us what's going on here.
Well, my plan is I want to get my Conjurer of the Ether stealth field up, and I also want to get her at least 1 move in there.
Okay, so let's roll the dice against her quality, which is
3.
All right, let's see what we get.
2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, so you get to take 2 actions this activation. What happened?
Well, she got 2 successes, so she moved up and she activated her stealth field.
Which is viable within 1 short stick of any terrain feature, correct?
Yep.
All right, excellent. And 1 more attempt at multiple activations. Last model of the turn for John, so it actually is a little bit safe. But go ahead and roll for those multiple activations.
Okay, she is quality 4, so I'm trying with 3 dice. And 1 success, 2 failures, so that would end my turn.
That will end your turn.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to Dark Mariners turn 1. So Dark Mariners are moving up. The Scientist is going to move 1 medium stick. Up. Same with the itty bitty crabs, moving up. And the heavy combat biomech is going to move up 1. Doing all simple activations at this point. Okay, I'm going to do attempt a multiple activation with my Vanguard Captain. I've done simple activations for just about everything else except my Nautiloid, but I'm going to try to get multiple actions out of this guy, so I need to roll. He's a Vanguard Captain. He has quality 3, so I need at least 2 successes to not pass it over to John's turn. So here we go. So he's quality 3, so I got 3 successes. So for the Vanguard Captain's activation, he basically came down off of this pillar. He moved a medium stick next to the terrain feature, and he took 1 action to hide, which is 3 actions. I'm going to do my last model's activation, which is the Nautiloid Chrysalid, which is hiding behind that terrain feature. He's got quality 3, and I want to get more actions out of him, so I'm going to see if I can get multiple actions in this activation. It's my last model for the turn, so if I fail, yeah, pass it over to the other player, but we'll see if we can get more. Here we go. So 2 failures on a quality 3 model, so that means I take 1 action, but then...
You get +1 on the quality check because of your leader's presence.
Oh, that's true. So +1, so that actually turns into 2 successes. Okay, so 2 actions out of the Nautiloid Chrysalid. Nautiloid Chrysalid did get 2 actions because he was within a long stick of my leader, so he took 2 actions. He moved up into right next to that terrain feature and went into hiding. End of turn 1, and this is what the battlefield looked like. Everyone's jockeying for position. I think over the next 2 turns we're going to really start seeing the action. Atalan's moving up. Dark Mariners moving up and being in cover. Hopefully hiding will help them survive a little longer. Let's see what happens in turn 2. All right. John is moving his stuff up. Simple activations. So simple activations again are 1 action per model. No risk of turning the turn over to the next player. So a couple of simple activations as he starts working out his turn. John, walk us through what you're thinking here.
I'm thinking of doing a whole lot of complex activations.
Ooh, exciting.
Because I need to get some terrain hopping going on, and I may even take some long-range pot shots depending on where models line up.
Excellent.
I'm activating Matt Wolf, the Ancient, here next. He has quality 2, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with him, but I do know that getting more than 1 move would be very good.
Okay, fantastic. So let's roll those dice and see how many activations you get.
That would be 3. I just moved Atalan the Elder up here so that he is now within a medium stick of the center, so he will start scoring victory points for me.
Excellent, per the scenario.
So Atalan has basically the leader ability +1 to activation, but in conjunction with constructs provided they're within the large stick. So I'm still keeping him centrally located, so all of these 3 are still within that command range. However, my 2 stealth mechs over here are not. And that's probably going to be the case as I'm sending them wide across the battlefield.
Okay, now you said you're going to live dangerously. What are we doing now?
I'm going to go ahead and try to activate my Hunter-Killer mech here.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go ahead and roll 3 dice for that.
Okay, let's see what happens.
And normally it is quality 4+, but due to his ability, it is quality 3.
All right, excellent.
And I got 3 successes. So I've decided to run a long-range pot shot at the Vanguard Captain there.
Okay.
So we're measuring it. My weapon has a long range, so there's 1 long stick. And there's 2, so he is within 2 long stick ranges, so it will be a less accurate shot.
Okay.
And he is behind cover, so this is going to have to be pretty lucky in order to score a hit. So I'm going to take a shot with my beam cannon from my Mantiform here at the Vanguard Captain. The Mantiform has combat 4. The beam cannon is +3. It is being fired at the model is at long range, so that is a -2. He is in partial cover, so that's an additional -1. And he also has natural armor, which is another -1. So my total on that will be at +3.
Okay. Hey, Biomech is shooting at the legs. Here we go. We're both at +3. Oh, nice! You hit solidly. What's the result of that? I've got a 5 total, and you've got a 9 total.
Yep.
So you didn't double my combat score.
Came real close.
But you came really close. So that means the Vanguard Captain takes some damage.
He takes a point of damage to his legs, and he's knocked down.
And he is knocked down. After that shot, my Vanguard Captain is fallen. So we mark that. He got hit in the legs, so that means he's knocked down for this turn, but I'll spend actions to get him back up next turn. If he keeps getting shot in the legs, he can either be slowed or immobilized.
Okay, I'm going to try to do a multiple activation on my Chiriniform mech here. That may be the wrong name on it, but so he is still within the long stick of my Animus there, so he gets +1 on his quality. He is quality normally 4, so he is quality 3 for the purposes of this check.
All right, let's see what we get.
Ooh, he failed.
No, you got quality 3, so you get +1, right? Because you're close to your leader.
No, it's quality 4 base.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so he failed.
He actually
He
failed.
gets 1 success, so 1 action, and then the turn switches to Greg.
Okay, Shark Mech moved up. That meant also, since he failed that multiple actions activation, that means that the Sorceress does not activate, and a couple other models in the backfield.
This one.
Yeah, did not activate. So that's one of the risks you try to mitigate when you play the games. But we're moving on to Dark Mariner's turn 2. Okay, Dark Mariner's turn 2. I've done simple activations for many of my models. These Biomechs and Scientists did a simple activation doing 1 move up. My Annihilator Biomech moved up and Vanguard Marine moved up as well. Right now I want to do a multiple actions activation with my Nautiloid Chrysalid. He's essentially quality 3, but since he's within a medium stick of my leader, he can do +1 on all of his activation rolls. So I want to get multiple actions out of this guy. I just rolled and I got this result. So that is a 6, a 5, and a 3. All of those are greater than 2 up. I don't get Action Hero 4th action because I didn't get 2 natural 6s. So basically I got 3 actions on this guy and I'm going to take those actions now. Okay, so we just moved the Nautiloid up. I want to move my Vanguard Captain. I want to give him multiple activations because it takes 1 action to stand up after you're fallen. And that seems kind of like a huge waste of a good model if I only stand up. So I'm going to try to do multiple actions. I'm going to roll the dice to see how many actions. He's quality 3, so I need 3 up on more than 1 die. Got it. So I've got 3 actions, no action hero bonus, but all of them are above 3, so 3 actions for this guy. First thing he's going to do is stand up. Please stand up. And then I'm going to move him. And I think I'm going to have to take a shot at somebody. Okay, I'm making discretion the better half of valor, although I don't know how effective it's going to be. I moved my Vanguard Captain up to the top of this, not the top, up on top of the ruin. I had to use a short stick to move instead of a medium because I'm going through difficult terrain, but he basically moved up. And then I'm going to move on to my Biomech Octopod. I'm going to roll quality check for him as well. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my Octopod Biomech. It's my last model of the turn, so it's okay if I flub it, although I'd rather not. He is quality 4, so I want to get more than 4 up. So here we go. Completely whiffed. So he fails.
Total failure.
Total failure, and pass the turn on to the next player. Okay, so since I did complete failure to activate the Octopod Biomech, he stays there. That is the end of turn 2. We move on to turn 3. We both score a victory point because we each have a personality model within a medium stick of the center of the table, which is the primary objective of the battle. So let's move on to turn 3 for the Ataláns. Okay, first action of top of turn 3 for the Ataláns. John has a target in sight and he's going to go for it. John, walk us through the math of what we're going to do here with that mech.
Well, I'm going to do my Hunter Killer mech. I'm going to fire its beam cannon at the Vanguard Captain up there.
Okay.
So the base combat on that is 4. The beam cannon gives +3. There is a -1 due to the natural armor of the Vanguard Captain, and he's in a terrain feature. -4 for a called shot of the head, but the beam has the precise special rule that gives it +2. So the total on that is going to be +4 versus the Vanguard Captain's combat skill of +3.
Excellent. So we're going to dice off to see what happens here. Blue dice is Vanguard. Metallic dice is Atalan. Let's see. Okay, dice were rolled for that shot, and this is what our results were. John's mech was dice +4. My Vanguard Captain's dice were dice +3. So total results were...
I won the combat by 1. Now he does have an armor value of 2 on his head. My weapon has an armor break of 1, which reduces the armor value to 1, which means my shot did no damage.
Okay, hit in the noggin, but no damage. Dodged a bullet there, no pun intended. So basically, since the Vanguard Captain lost that combat, he has to recoil. He took no damage. He has to recoil 1 base length away from the attacker, which puts him probably right here. Okay, next up we're doing some simple activations with the eel mechs, getting them in cover. Single movement, moving those guys into cover.
A multiple action activation on my Chiriniform mech there.
Alright.
And he is close enough to my Matt Lowell the Ancient there, so he has +1 on his activation.
Mm-hmm.
Normally he's quality 4, this makes him quality 3.
Alright, let's see what we get.
Oh, failure!
Oh no!
My turn will end again.
Well, wait a minute.
I had 1 success and 2 failures.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So take your 1 action and then we'll pass the turn off.
Yeah.
So he rolled a 3, a 1, and a 2, which means he had to get at least 2 3s on the dice, so that means he failed, but he does get his 1 action, so we're going to go ahead and do what?
I'm going to fire a shock torpedo at the Vanguard Captain.
We've worked out the math. He is quality 3. He has shock torpedo as a +1 weapon, long range. 2 medium sticks is -2, and -1 for the Vanguard Captain's natural armor, so you're +1.
Yep.
And I am at +3. Okay, let's see what happens. Ooh, so...
I got a 7 total, and you got a 6 total, so
right.
I got you by 1.
Right. My armor is 2.
I have armor break 2.
Okay, so that's even Steven on the armor break.
So I did a point of damage.
You did 1 point of damage to the body.
Yep.
All right.
And we get the shock effect.
And you get the shock effect. What does that do?
You have to make a resistance roll with 2 successes or be transfixed.
So we're doing a will check to be not transfixed or transfixed based on getting hit with the shock torpedo from the Chiriniform Biomech. So I need at least 2 3s.
Got it.
think we're good. So he's not transfixed, but he does take 1 point of damage against the body. Something tells me you don't like my Vanguard Captain.
Well, he's one of your 2 scoring models. So.
Smart play, smart play. Okay, so the Chiriniform mech did fail its multiple activations, so we move on to turn 3, bottom of turn 3 for Dark Mariners. Dark Mariners, turn 3. Bottom of turn 3, going to do some simple activations first. I've already moved the Octopod Biomech up into cover with a single activation. I'm going to move this Annihilator Biomech up. Plodding slowly forward to their doom. Okay, so I'm doing my simple activations. I've moved my Octopod Biomech, I've moved my Annihilator Biomech, I've moved my Vanguard Marine up. Now I'm going to do a couple of multiple activations if I can. I'm going to do my Scientist. I'm going to try to move him up a little closer and get him in cover. So he's quality 3, so I need at least 3 ups. He's not within a long stick of my leader, so I don't get any bonuses to my leadership and my quality roll, so it's straight 3 up on 3 dice. So I got 2 successes, 1 fail, so that means I get to keep going on my turn, but I do get 2 actions instead of 1 this turn, so I'm going to do that with my Scientist. I just got finished activating the Scientist. He got 2 actions. He moved up and hid in cover. The Assault Biomech and the crabs behind him, the Fixer crabs, moved up with simple activation, so 1 action each. Now I'm going to try to activate my Nautiloid Chrysalid. He's quality 3. He's within 1 long stick, of the Vanguard Captain, which is leader, gives me +1 to quality rolls. So he's effectively quality 2. So I'm going to try to get multiple actions out of this activation for him. So I need 2 or higher on 3 dice. Let's see what we get. He gets 3 actions this turn. The Nautiloid Chrysalis moved up. 2 medium sticks up there, and now he's squaring off with the mech, the Atalan mech, and he's going to do a shooting attack with his disintegrator cannon, that funky crystalline cannon that he's holding in his tentacles there. So basically he is combat 2, base 2. His death ray is +2. It's a large target for the mech, which is +1. The mech has an ability called Reflect, which bounces shots off of it, so it's -1. So he's essentially dice +4. John's mech is combat 4, so it's dice +4. So we're basically even dice, so we're going to roll those right now to see what happens. Alright, dice +4 for each of us. No hit. This is the last activation for me this turn. The only guy who has not gone is the Vanguard Captain. He is quality 3, so I need 3 ups on 2 dice to see if I get multiple actions. Let's see what happens. Ooh. 1 action and pass the turn. With my 1 activation, I moved my Vanguard Captain up off that terrain feature. He's essentially doing himself no good up there, so I need to get him stuck in and in the action, so I moved him there. It was difficult terrain, which moves my medium move down to a short move, 1 move stick per difficulty of terrain. So he moved 1 short stick, and that is the end of my turn. At the bottom of turn 3, let's do a quick recap of the points. So Ataláns have 1 personality model.
And he scored twice, so I have 2 victory points.
So 2 victory points for him. Dark Mariners have 2 personalities within a medium stick of the center of the table, so that's 2 victory points for the Dark Mariners. Also note the Scientist is a personality model, so if I get him within a medium stick, he'll also score as well. So the game right now is tied 2-2. We're moving on to top of turn 4, Ataláns.
Well, I'm going to take a risk here. I'm going to try a multiple activation of my crab mech here, because I really like to get him in hand-to-hand with the Nautilus.
Yeah.
So he is very close to my Admiral there, so he has +1 quality, quality 4, so he needs 3s.
Need 3s. Okay, let's roll them bones. Oh no! You get your 1 action.
And then my turn ends.
And then your turn ends. Alright, let's do that 1 action. Okay, we're going to move on to bottom of turn 4. We've got the 1 activation, after the failed multiple activation dice roll. That guy moved up, so now we're going to move on to Dark Mariners, bottom of turn 4. Okay, so it's bottom of turn 4. Dark Mariners are going. My first action is going to be attempting to get multiple actions out of my Nautiloid Chrysalid. I want aiming bonus to shoot the mech directly in front of him. So he's basically just going to plug that lane and try to shoot the mech. He's within a long stick of my leader, so I get +1, so it's quality 2, +1, so I need 2s on 3 dice. Let's see what we get. So I got 3 actions. So I'm going to spend 2 of those actions to aim, which will give me +2. And then I get a base of 4, +4 on my dice. So it's dice +6 for me, dice +4 for John to hit. Okay, so my total combat, my combined combat score for the Nautiloid is 12. The combined combat score for the mech is 9. I am armor break 4. You are armor 3. So
1 point of damage.
1 point of damage to the body. All right. The mech is also staggered, so he moves 1 base back.
Which I believe would be there.
Yeah, 1 point to the body, 1 base back. Okay, that was the Nautiloids shooting. Okay, next up I'm going to try to activate my scientist. He's quality 3. He's within 1 long stick of my leader, so he gets +1. So he's quality 2 effectively. So I need 2 ups on 3 dice. So yeah, so two successes, so he can take 2 actions this turn. Alright, so I activated my scientist. Now I rolled a 1, a natural 1 in my activation, which means based on his special rule, the mutant spawn, that means if I roll a die again and it comes up a 1, that means I forfeit my turn. It's a special mutant spawn rule that's pretty common amongst the Dark Mariners rules, or Dark Mariners models. So I did that.
So we just ran the point totals for the end of the turn, and it's currently, because of the proximity of the Nautiloid and the Vanguard Captain, Dark Mariners have 4 points to the Ataláns 3.
All right, point totals 4-3. Dark Mariners. We're going to move on to top of 5.
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my crab mech, which I was trying to do last turn. I'm just going to take a free action with him, and I'm going to move him up and try to avoid blocking off my own line of fire and get him base to base with the Nautiloid there, just to take his gun out of play, and they'll be in hand-to-hand combat for our following turns.
Okay, you're going to move up your crab mech for a simple activation?
Yep.
Alrighty.
So my first move, because she hasn't done anything to contribute to the fight yet, is I'm going to try to get my sorceress here with a multiple action to get her up towards the center so she can start scoring and hopefully do some neat spell effects.
Excellent. Yes, she is a personality model, so as long as she gets within a short stick of a terrain feature, she can score. But she needs more than just a simple medium move to get within a short stick, so that's why we're doing multiple actions.
So here goes.
You got it.
Heck yeah.
Easily. Okay, you got your 3 actions. Let's take those. We forgot to roll when the Nautiloid shot its death ray. It has a transfixed ability, so it shot at the manta form mech and actually transfixed it, so that manta form is transfixed. Continuing on with the Atalan top of turn 5 activations. John, what are we doing with that big manta form mech?
Well, we're going to try to activate it. I need to get 2 successes to shake off that transfixed.
Yes, you do. Okay, let's see what happens. A will roll, right?
Activation roll.
Activation roll. Yeah. That's right. Activation roll. Okay.
So normally quality 4 +1 for the animist in proximity, so I need 3s.
All right. You are golden.
Boxcars.
And boxcars.
But not 3 successes.
Right. So
close.
So close. You needed how many successes to avoid the transfixed? Okay, so you're no longer transfixed. Excellent. Okay, that mantiform mech has moved up since it shaked off the transfixed, and now he's got a line of sight to my Vanguard Captain, and he's gonna take a shot to his head. John, walk us through what's gonna happen here.
Well, I'm gonna take with a shot with a beam cannon to the Vanguard Captain's head. My mech has a combat skill of 4. The beam cannon has +3 accuracy. There is a -4 for headshot and +2 for precise. It gives an overall breakdown of, at the end, I've got a +4 and the Vanguard Captain has got a +3.
Okay, so John's dice +4, I'm dice +3. Let's see what happens. Ooh, not so good. So you've got basically a total combat value of 10. I've got a total combat value of 6.
Yep.
I'm armor 2. You are armor break 1. So that means
I did not double your score.
Right.
I missed it fairly close on that, actually.
Shaved it, but you did hit.
I did hit, and I did 1 point of damage to your head.
One point of damage connects with the head, which means all sorts of bad stuff, like I can't counterattack and all sorts of other stuff, right?
Yep.
All right, 1 point to the head. That Vanguard Captain is getting picked on.
So Matt Lowell the Ancient here is going to attempt to conjure up a boiling wall.
Boiling wall, excellent. So basically the seafloor starts boiling and rises up, and you take damage if you try to cross it. So walk us through the mechanic there.
Well, I got to roll to see how many spell points he has available, and that's similar to the activation check.
Right.
He has quality 2, so I only need 2 ups for this. And each success I get allows me 1 medium stick distance for where the wall is cast, and also makes the wall 1 medium stick in length.
Okay.
So here's my roll.
Alrighty.
And I got 3 successes.
Excellent. So that means you've got a wall.
Yep.
That's 3 medium sticks in length.
So let me get some dice here, and we can measure how far this wall is going to go. But it's going to basically block off a huge portion of this side of the table.
Right. And so if I try to walk through that in my next turn, I basically I have to make a resistance roll. And if I fail that, I take 2 points of damage?
1 point of damage. If you fail it by 3, you take 2.
Got it. Okay, so there's a big wall of boiling water blocking off the Dark Mariner's path towards combat with these guys. And if I want to get through it, I'm going to have to do some resistance rolls. And so he's going to activate his eels. This is his last activation for this turn. He's just going to move them up and not move them through the new boiling wall that he just made.
I'm going to try a complex activation on the Shark Mech because it's my last model, and why not at this point?
Why not?
So I need 3s on that.
All right.
And boy, I'm glad I did that as my last model.
But you do get your 1 action because you had 1 success.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Chiriniform biomech is going to shoot his torpedo at the Dark Mariner Vanguard Marine. So he's the Shark Mech is essentially combat 3. His weapon is +1. He's at -2 because of its 2 sticks within range. So his total is dice +2. The Vanguard Marine is dice +3 based on his combat, and let's see what happens.
Nothing.
So nothing. So shot failed to connect, and that is last activation this turn, right? Okay, that is top of 5. We're going to move on to bottom of 5, Dark Mariners. Okay, top of turn 5, I've got some hard choices to make. I've got this vicious boiling water wall that I need to get through. Now I need to roll resistance rolls in order to get through that. My resistance on a lot of my guys is 5, so that means I need to roll 5 or higher on 3 dice. So chances are I'm probably going to take some wounds if I go through here. If I roll all less than 5s, I'll take 2 wounds. I think most of my guys can do that. I think this guy I'm a little bit worried about because he's been picked on so badly. He's actually pretty badly wounded. The rest of these guys I'm not so worried about. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to do multiple actions with my my scientist. Now he's quality 3. He's within a long stick of my leader, so he's essentially quality 2. So I'm going to try to do multiple actions and an activation with him. Let's see what we get. So I got two successes. That's pretty standard at this point. So I'm going to take 2 actions with my scientist. So I just rolled 2 successes for my scientist. I got to get through this wall and do some work. So what I'm going to do is roll a resistance roll. 3 dice. I need to get 5 or higher on these in order to not take damage. If I get 1 5 or higher, I take 1 point. If I get 2 5s or higher, I take 0 points. If I get all 3 less than 5, I take 2 points of damage to the body. So let's see what happens. So if I decide to go, I declared it, so I go through. So I take basically 2 points of damage to my body, and now I get to do my 2 actions.
Yep.
So boiling water does not like this little dude. So basically my scientist took a little bit of a cooking damage as he went through here. He took 2 damage points to his body, but basically he did 2 medium moves to get in base-to-base contact with his crab mech. So now he can't attack because he doesn't have any actions left, but basically he's giving whoever else is in that combat a flanking bonus. So that was the intention. So let's keep moving on with these guys trying to get through the hot water. Next up, I'm going to try to activate multiple activation with my scavengers. They're quality 4 normally, within a long stick of the Vanguard Captain, so they're +1. So I need 3s on 3 dice to get more than 1 action. All good. Okay, so same thing here. They're going to try to go through the hot water with their first action. Remember, they've got 3 actions, so I need to roll resistance again, so it's 5 up on my resistance. Wow. With spade. So he goes right through that wall. First medium action. Sorry, first medium move. Second medium move. And we're going to try and do a combat. Okay, so the crabs came in, they did a rush, which means they did 2 moves and then they came in to attack. So essentially I am combat 2 with those crabs, plus 0 for the weapon of the pincers. I did a rush, so that's plus 2. I have multiple attackers on my side of the combat, so I'm total of plus 6. John's crab mech is using his blades, which is plus 1, and he has a combat of 2. So his essentially is John is dice plus 3 and I'm at plus 6. So let's roll and see what happens. Okay, so the total combat score was 8 for John's crab mech and 7 for my crab. So essentially he has armor break 1, but I have armor 1, so that actually cancels each other out. He did 1 point of damage to the body of that model, and it is now fallen. Next up for me, after my scavenger crabs attacked, I'm going to try to attack with the nautiloid chrysalid. So normally I would have 1 attack if I did a simple activation, although I want to try something called a mighty attack, which is if I get multiple actions, I can add that as bonuses to my attack. So I'm going to try to do multiple actions roll. So he's quality 3. He's within a long stick of my leader, so he's essentially quality 2. Let's see if we can get more than 1 attack with this guy. We are good, so I can do an attack at plus 2. My nautiloid is combat 2. He has 2 additional attackers from my side, so he gets plus 2. He's going to try a mighty blow with those 2 extra actions that I got, so that's plus 2 as well. His armored beak is plus 1 on the attack, so I'm essentially dice plus 7. John is dice plus 3. So let's roll off and see what happens. So I got a 10 and you got a 5.
So you doubled my score.
I doubled your score, which means I do double wounds.
Yep.
Armor break of 1.
You well exceeded my armor.
Well exceeded the armor.
So I took 2 points of damage.
Took 2 points of damage on the body. So basically my nautiloid did 2 points of damage to the crab. He's got 3, John's crab mech has 3 points on his body, so he's down to 1 wound left on his body, and the crab mech is now fallen. My next activation, I'm going to try for multiple actions on my Vanguard Captain. He's fallen, so I need to spend at least 1 action to get him back in the game. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to do the better half of discretion, the better half of valor being discretion, so I'm probably just going to try to get him up and move him away, but I feel pretty safe with trying to do multiple actions with a 3 up. So let's see what happens here.
That'd be the end of your turn.
That would be the end of my turn. So the Vanguard Captain got 1 successful action during that activation. So basically he stands up from being fallen. But since I got 2 failures, the turn passes over to my opponent. So that was the bottom of 5 Dark Mariners. Alright, adding up points from last turn for the personalities, close to the middle of the middle objective. We've got, from last turn, it is 4 points Dark Mariners to the 3 points of the Ataláns. John's got 2 personality models within medium stick of the center objective. I've got 2 personality models within the medium stick, Nautiloid Chrysalid and the Dark Mariners Captain. So right now the score is 6-5 Dark Mariners. Moving on to top of turn 6.
So I'm going to lead with Matlil here, and since I like my Boiling Wall so much, I'm going to try to cast another spell.
Right, so the Boiling Wall lasted 1 turn, it went down, but now we're going to try for it again.
Well, I'm going to try a different spell this time, but
okay.
We'll see how well I do.
Excellent.
So,
what are we trying for?
Well, I'm going to try for a little acoustic resonance.
Ooh, okay, acoustic resonance. Roll them bones.
So I need 2s.
2s.
Wow, look at 3 1s.
Oh my goodness.
So he just blew up. That will end my turn. And
oh my goodness.
We get a spell mishap.
Oh my.
Rolls 3 failures during the spellcasting roll. At which point the spellcaster has lost effect of the ethers and cannot cast spells for the remainder of the battle.
So basically he just got a migraine.
Yes.
And he can't cast any spells. And the turn turns over?
Turn is over. That was my turn.
Okay, that was top of turn 6. We're moving on to turn 6, bottom of turn 6. Now keep in mind, DeepWars does have many turns. It's got generally, most scenarios are 10 turns. And so this is very normal, as a matter of fact. Sometimes the ebb and flow of the multiple successes or failures happens quite frequently. So we're moving on to the bottom of turn 6. Let's see if the Dark Mariners can rally after losing their turn halfway through their turns. Okay, so we are at the bottom of turn 6. Dark Mariners game plan. We're going to try to finish up this combat and see what we can do. We got to pull those personalities close to the middle of the table so that we can start scoring more points. We got to get this big guy into combat somehow. We also need to get that Annihilator Biomech guy into combat. This guy, I also want to try to move up. But the challenge here is I've got to be really careful with my multiple activations or I'll pass the turn back. I really need to capitalize here. I've got my Nautiloid attacking first, is really what I want to do. So this is my first activation this turn. He is quality 3. He's within a long stick of my Vanguard Captain, so he activates on 2s. He successfully has an action on 2, excuse me. So I'm going to risk it, and I'm going to try to get multiple attacks through a Mighty Blow and get additional combat bonus. So let's see how many activations I get. So I get 3. So +2 on my attacks because of Mighty Blow. So I'm essentially combat 2. There's multiple attackers with +2. My beak is a +1 weapon. +2 because John's crab mech is fallen, plus an additional 2 because I'm using Mighty Blow. So my total adds to my combat is a +9. John's total adds to his combat is +3. So dice +9 for me, dice +3 for John. Let's see. And you got a 5, so you got an 8 total. And I got a 13 total. So I am armor break 1.
So you killed my crab mech.
So I killed the crab mech with the Nautiloid. Okay, so now with John's crab mech out of the way, I feel safe that I can do a simple activation with him. So he's just going to stand up. Okay, I'm going to let discretion be the better half of valor, and I'm going to get him out of line of sight of all the shooting that's happening, but still stay within a long stick of the Nautiloid. So he's just going to kind of move back here. Basically right there, out of harm's way. Okay, so I'm also going to just try to get positioning with this guy. I know I really desperately want to get him into combat, but just knowing how the dice have been, I'm just going to position him up here. And now I'm going to move on to my Cephalid Scientist. So he's quality 3. He's no longer within a 1 long stick of my captain, so he activates on 3s. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do multiple actions for him. Then I'm also going to try to do multiple actions with my Annihilator Biomech, but let's see if we get past the Cephalid Scientist first. So I need 3s. All good. So I got 3 actions. I'm going to try to get him closer to the middle objective, but also engage the Manta in combat. So basically, I'm going to move up. It's less than 1 medium stick. I'm going to do that. Get that. And so we're going to try to do... This is going to be a very funny combat, but basically what I'm trying to do is get multiple combatants within the next turn. I'm combat 2. I have +0 on my weapon, +1 because I charged, +1 because I'm taking my additional action that I got from my multiple activations and doing a Mighty Blow. So my combat modifier is +4. John's is +6 because he is combat base 4, he is big, which is +1, and his weapon is +1. So my dice +4, John's dice +6. Let's see what happens. You beat me by 2.
Which does not overcome your armor.
Which does not overcome my armor, so basically nothing happens.
I knock you back.
But you knock me back, correct. Okay, so for my last activation this turn, I've got my Assault Biomech. Sorry, my Annihilator Biomech. He's my last model, so I feel comfortable trying to do multiple actions with him. So he is quality 4, so I need to roll 4s or higher on more than 1 dice. Got it.
Easy.
Easy. So I got 3 actions this turn with him. Okay, so he got 3 actions, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him around and get him into base-to-base contact. I can't do any attacks because I use all my actions getting there, but basically I'm just going to use the medium stick and move him in. Okay, so that's the culmination of my turn. The Annihilator Biomech got into hand-to-hand range with the Mantiform mech. Can't do any attacks because he used all of his actions to get there, but we're basically dogpiling that guy, and we're going to be done with turn 6. Let's do the points really quick. So last turn we ended up with 6 points Dark Mariners, 5 points for the Ataláns. So where are we at now? We've got...
Well, let's see here. I believe that everybody is still within a medium base at the center, which would make it 8 points Dark Mariner, 7 points Ataláns.
Okay, sounds good. That sounds right to me. All right, we're going to move to the top of turn 7, Ataláns. So top of turn 7, John is going to do 1 action off of his Mantiform mech. We've done the math and essentially straight dice. So he's +6 something, I'm plus something that works out to be exactly the same. So let's roll and see what we
both
get.
plus 5s.
We're both plus 5s. Okay, let's see what we come up with.
Got
So
you by
you
1.
got me by 1. My armor is...
Your armor is 2.
And you are armor break 1, I believe?
I don't believe I have any armor break with my hand-to-hand weapon.
Oh, that's right.
But I do have entangle. But I don't want to do that.
No.
So I won by 1, and that's it.
I am armor 2, so you knocked me back.
I knocked you back, I did no damage.
Right. So we're going to take him and knock him back 1 basically.
Yeah, that was pretty useless.
Well, you know, you're not tied up anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
He's done with his moves, but...
Now we're on to the spellcaster. What are we doing?
My sorceress is going to try to cast a spell.
Okay, let's see how many actions you get. Pretty
looks
good
like
roll.
3.
You got 3. Okay, so the spellcaster has 3 spell points. What are we going to do with those spell points?
Well, I'm going to set up an acoustic resonance zone.
Ooh, that sounds dangerous. What are we doing?
Well, it allows me to drop a short radius zone, and any model that enters or starts their activation there has to make a resistance roll or become transfixed. And look at that. I can get a whole bunch of Dark Mariners all inside that radius.
They're all clumped up. Okay, so basically, it doesn't do anything now, but if I choose to activate next turn, I have to make a resistance roll and get 2 or more 5s.
Or whatever their will is.
Or whatever their will is, right? Most of them, I believe, are 5s.
Scientists, I think, will probably have pretty low.
I think it's going to be pretty okay, but, you know, who knows? We'll see. But basically, it doesn't do anything now, but next turn, if I try to activate, I have to make a will roll, or I get transfixed, which is a bummer. All right, so where are we dropping that template?
Well, I'm looking at it, and I think if I drop it, like right here...
Like right on top of the nautiloid?
Yeah, I think I get all of your guys without getting mine.
Okay, let's call it that.
I'm going to leave my mechanical eels back there where they are, so I can see what the effect is of the resonance, and then I'm going to hopefully get them stuck in on anything big and scary next turn and use their shock ability to hopefully pin it down for the rest of the battle.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and activate Matt Will the Ancient there after his stunning performance last turn when he flubbed a spell and burned out his brain.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to give him a multiple activation. He is quality 2+, so I just need 2s on this.
All right, let's see what happens.
3 successes.
Okay. His brain is burned out, so he can't do spells, right? But he can do other things.
I can still shoot with him.
So you got all those actions. What are we going to do with him?
Well, I'm going to do 2 actions on a dimensional shift, and I am living extremely dangerously because I'm going to move in a little closer to the Vanguard Captain, and I'm going to try, with very long odds, to do a headshot to try to finish him off.
Okay, so let's move him up there with your dimensional shift.
Okay. Well, I make sure I get it within medium range.
Yep.
Which I can do, yep. And then we'll go back a little bit. Okay.
All right, so let's roll dice. I believe we've worked this out, and you are dice plus
1.
and I am dice plus 3.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see what happens.
Clear these. Wish that was my roll. So I got 4.
I got 4.
Tie.
Tie.
Nothing.
Nothing happens. Okay, well, it was worth a shot.
Yeah.
Last up on the Atalan side is the Chiriniform mech. What are we going to do there?
Oh, I'm going to try multiple activation, and I'm assuming that a shock torpedo will be involved in this.
Excellent. So this is your last model?
This is my... Oh, yeah.
Got one more after this, so we're going to live a little dangerously. All right, let's see how many actions we get.
3 ups.
All right.
Wow, I threw one directly into the cave.
And the cave says 3.
So, 2 successes.
2 successes. So
Ooh, that's unlike me.
with the 2 successes,
I will aim once.
aim once, and we're going to shoot a torpedo, I'm assuming, at somebody.
At him.
Okay, let's do it. So working out the math on this one, the shark mech is at +5 on dice based on range and weapon abilities and whatnot. The Vanguard Mariner is at dice +4 based on his combat ability and being +1 because he's next to a natural terrain feature and he has natural armor. So dice +5 and dice +4. Let's see what happens.
I got ya.
So you exceeded my combat value by 2.
And I have an armor break of 3 on my gun.
You have armor break of 3, and I have armor value on my body of 1. So you blow through my armor.
Yep.
And so you do 1 point of damage to my body.
And you're shocked, so you have to make a will save.
And my will is 4. Let's see what happens. So I don't pass that, so I am shocked.
You are transfixed.
I'm transfixed. Okay. Okay, so for your last activation on top of turn 7, you're going to do what?
I'm going to try a multiple activation on my ether person there.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Quality 4, so I'm living dangerously.
There, here we go.
Oh boy.
Oh, you get your one action.
One action.
But then
Turn
is over.
to you.
Yep. Okay, so your super scientist is going to shoot my mutated scientist. What are the numbers?
Well, my base combat's +2. I have -2 for range, and my gun is +1, so I'm at +1. And the scientist has a combat skill of 2, so he's only got a +2.
Okay, so you're shooting your weapon. Scientist is shooting my scientist with their weapon. Let's see what happens.
So I got a 5, and you got a 5. It is a tie. Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Okay, shot, connected, but no damage. Okay, Dark Mariners, bottom of turn 7. This is the make or break turn, I feel, because we've got a lot of models positioned to do a lot of damage, really close to a lot of other Atalan models. But the problem is the spell got cast last turn, which means I need to do a lot of will rolls in order to be not transfixed. And transfixed is kind of not fun. So I've also got a model over here that's transfixed. So I think I'm going to do the easy stuff first. Let's see if I can untransfix him. He is within a long stick of my leader, so he gets +1. He's quality 4, so I need 3s or higher to get...
You need 2 3s.
I need at least 2 3s. Let's see what happens.
Got it.
Got it. Okay, so I am no longer transfixed.
And you have 2 actions.
And I have 2 actions. So
now,
let's...
It's a little different over here.
Right.
Because you're actually making the will test over there. They haven't been transfixed yet.
Right. It's possible they get transfixed if I fail my will checks over here. But this guy, we're already activating him. Let's see what he does. Okay, Dark Mariners are going. The Vanguard Marine just shaked off the transfixed. So I'm going to move up and try to shoot that scientist up on the ledge there who had the gall to shoot my captain. So I'm moving into difficult terrain, so I can only move a short stick up. So let's go ahead and do that. And now I'm within a short stick of that scientist. So we're going to shoot him with a disruptor pistol. The Vanguard Marine is combat 3. His pistol is +1, giving him a total of 4, except the scientist has reflex, so that gives me a -1. So my total combat adds are 3. John's is combat 2, and so he's +2 on his dice roll, so it's +3 and +2. Let's see what happens.
Into the cave.
Into the cave, which is a 4, and you got a 6.
So I got an 8 total.
You've got an 8 total, and I got a 7 total, so nothing happens. You may have forgotten about my octopod biomech. He's been slowly making his way behind the terrain, and he just did a simple activation to get here. Let's see if he actually gets into the battle at some point, but right now he's skulking. Okay, for my next activation, I'm going to try to activate my Nautiloid. Now remember, the spellcaster shot a spell, which means that if I try to activate any of my models within the radius of that spell, which was a short stick of essentially this point right here, the back of the Nautiloid shell, I need to take a will check or be transfixed. So the Nautiloid's will is 3, so that means on 3 dice I need to get at least 2 3-ups. So let's see what happens. We're good. So he is not transfixed, and I need to do my activations. My Nautiloid is not transfixed, but that was just a will roll to avoid transfixing. So now I've got to activate normally. So he's within a long stick, just barely, within a long stick of my captain. I don't need line of sight for the Vanguard Captain. So he is normally quality 3. He has +1 based on the Vanguard Captain's leadership, so he is quality 2 for all effects and purposes. So let's roll and see what we get there. 2 ups. 3 successes. Okay, so the Nautiloid evaded the transfixion, got 3 actions, he moved up. Then he had to move up a little bit closer to get within short range of his disruptor cannon to shoot that scientist. So we've done the math. So he's combat 2. His weapon is a +2 weapon, although the scientist that he's shooting at is reflect 1. So his combat adds are 3. John's character's combat is a 2. So let's see what happens here. So I'm +3, John's +2. So I've got a 7. You got a 5, so I beat you by 2.
Yep.
I am armor break 4 on the disruptor cannon.
So my scientist takes a wound.
Takes a wound on the body.
And I need to make a will save.
Yes, you do. Your will is 4.
Okay. So here goes. 3 dice. I need 2 4s.
There you go.
And I got it.
You got 2 4s, so you don't get transfixed, but you do take a wound.
I do take a wound, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to avoid transfixion with my cephalid scavenger, so their will is a 4, so I need 4 ups on at least 2 dice. So they are transfixed, because I did not get 4 ups.
So they are done.
So they are transfixed. Is the Annihilator Biomech. He has a will of 4 as well, so I need 4 up on at least 2 dice. A 5 and a 6. So he is not transfixed.
Now I need to roll for activation.
Yep. So I am not willing to risk doing multiple actions for this guy, so I'm going to do a simple activation and simply move him into close combat with the Mantiform mech. Next up is the Vanguard Mariner Captain. He is not at risk of transfixion, thank goodness. We still got some more transfixion stuff that we need to resolve over there. But right now I want to move him up so that he gets within closer distance of the Cephalid Scientist so he can have bonuses to multiple activations. But right now I'm going to activate him and see if we can move up and do something about that Scientist perched on top. So he's quality 3 dice. I need 3 ups. Let's see what happens. We're good. 3 actions. Alright, the Vanguard Captain has moved up 2 short moves because he's in difficult terrain, and now he's in base-to-base with the leader?
Atwell the Elder.
Atwell the Elder, okay. So my combat adds are +3 and yours are +2. Let's see what happens. Well, alrighty then. So I am 4, you are 6, yeah. You win by 2. My armor is 1.
So I did a point of damage.
Point of damage to my body. Next up is my Cephalid Scientist. He has a will of 3. So I need to avoid transfixion on at least 2 dice of 3 or higher. So let's see what happens.
Fail.
Nope. He is transfixed. Okay, so the Cephalid Scientist is transfixed. Now, last guy on my side to activate is the Heavy Combat Biomech. He is at risk of being transfixed, so I need to roll 2 dice above his will, which is 4. So on 2 dice, let's see if we can get a couple 4-ups. Nope, he is transfixed as well. That was a pretty interesting turn. So we see a lot of the Dark Mariners transfixed over here. We had some combat going on. The Vanguard Captain attacked, but he got beaten back by the leader, and he has fallen. Put some damage on that Scientist back there. And we're going to continue on. So this is bottom of turn 7. So what do we got in terms of scoring? So we were at 8-7 last turn.
And we're now 10-9.
Now we're 10-9. Same number of people within the middle of the scenario. So 10-9 Dark Mariners. Moving on to top of turn 8 Ataláns. Top of turn 8, John's Eels move into base to base, but do not attack some of the Dark Mariners that have been transfixed.
I didn't want to risk failure on the activation check.
Just tying them up at this point. Okay, next up for the Ataláns, we're going to do something with this Scientist. What are we doing?
Well, I'm going to try some multiple activation.
Okay.
And so I'm rolling 3 dice, and I need 2 ups.
Okay, let's see.
And I got 2 successes.
2 successes, so 2 actions. So since the Vanguard Captain is fallen, you get to disengage, right?
That's the plan.
All right.
So I'm going to go back to here, and then my plan is I'm going to cold shot you in the head.
All right. 1 is -4 for a headshot. Gets him to +1 on his dice rolls. Mine are +4. So here we go.
Not a chance.
9. Ooh.
7.
You got a 7.
Yeah.
Missed.
Not good enough.
All right, moving on. Okay, what's next?
We're going to go here, and I'm going to go ahead and attack your Biomech.
Okay.
And
the Mantiform mech against the Annihilator Biomech.
I've got a +4 for my combat skill, +1 for my weapon, and +1 for my flanking model, so +6 total.
Right, and the Annihilator Biomech is combat 4 and +1 for his hand-to-hand weapon. So you've got +6 and I've got +5.
Yep.
Right. Okay, let's see. So you beat me by 1.
Yep.
What's your armor break?
I don't have any armor break.
Okay, so he's got armor 2. So
I do have Entangle though.
You have Entangle.
Let's go ahead and entangle you.
Okay, he is entangled. Next.
Oh, I'm going to take a shot at the Scientist here. And I've got a 2 attack. It is long range, so -2.
Okay.
So that's 0. I get +1 though for my pistol and +2 because he's transfixed, so I'm rolling at +3 and he is rolling at +2.
Okay, so +3 versus +2.
So I got an 8 total.
And I got a 6 total, so you won by 2.
Yep.
My armor is armor of 2.
And I believe I have an armor break.
Oh boy.
Or I don't.
No armor break on that guy?
No armor break on that.
Okay, so you hit but failed to damage.
Yep. Try a multiple action activation on my sorceress there.
Okay, let's see what we come up with.
So she needs 3s.
All right.
Got 2.
Nice. Got 2 successes for actions. What are we doing?
I'm going to use her charm power, and I'm going to try to charm this Dark Mariner up here.
Dark Vanguard Marine.
Yep, so he needs to make a will save with 2 successes or he becomes transfixed.
I believe his will is
4.
4. Yes, so we need 3 dice.
Yep.
At least 2 4-ups. We're good.
No problem.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Hey, Shark is going to do multiple activations. What do we got?
We need 3s.
Not a problem. The Charform mech is going to shoot at that Vanguard Marine again. What are the numbers?
Vanguard mech's base is 3, +1 for his weapon is 4, plus he's aiming twice, so he's got a 6.
Okay, and the Vanguard Marine is base combat 3. He's in natural terrain, so that gives him +1 from natural armor, so he's at +4. So 6 versus 4.
So I got an 8.
And I got a 7. You beat me by 1.
Armor break 3.
Armor of 2 on that guy, so you get through the armor and you do 1
1
point.
point of damage, and he needs to make a test to see if he becomes shocked.
Shocked, and that is
Will.
will, and his will I believe was 4. So I need 4-ups. Nope.
He is shocked.
He is shocked.
So he takes 1 point of damage and he's transfixed.
So that is 2 additional points of damage to his body.
1 additional.
One, sorry, wait, the 1 from the shot and 1 from the shock.
The shot just does 1 point, that's it.
Okay, and so the shock does not do additional
No, it
damage?
does not do additional.
That 1 point actually kills him.
Okay.
Because he only has 2 in the body. So
And I kill the model in the control area of the artifact, so I get a victory point.
And there you go. Okay, top of 8. Turn is done. We're going to move on to bottom of 8. The Ataláns are starting to put pressure on the Dark Mariners. We still have some transfixed guys. The Vanguard Mariner soldier is dead, giving John's Ataláns a victory point. Let's see if the Dark Mariners can rally. Bottom of turn 8. It is the bottom of turn 8. It's time for the Dark Mariners to answer the call here. So I'm going to start with my Nautiloid Chrysalid. He's quality 3 normally. He's within a long stick of my Vanguard Captain, so he does multiple activations on 2s. So let's see what we get. So he gets 3 actions. So what we're going to do with him is he's going to essentially turn around, get within a short stick of your scientist, aim, and shoot. I am combat 2. I am aiming, which is +1. I am using my disruptor cannon, which is +2, but he's got reflect, so that's -1. So I'm at +5, and your guy is at
+2.
All right, so I'm +4. 5.
+4.
I'm +4. You're +2. I needed that. So I'm 10 versus your 6. So armor break of 4.
1 point of damage.
1 point of damage to the body.
Yep.
Since the disruptor cannon on the Nautiloid Chrysalid has the resonance effect, he needs to roll will versus transfix, so we're going to do that now. He's sitting on 2 wounds on his body. He's got 1 more left, so let's see if you get transfixed or not.
Will is 3, so I need 3 ups. No problem.
You're not transfixed, but you are fallen.
Yes.
Okay, for my next activation, the plan is the Vanguard Captain is going to do multiple activations and try to shake off that fallen and kill him with his last actions. Hopefully I make this and don't turn the turn over to John. Let's see, I need 3 ups. All good. 3 actions. Okay, so the Vanguard Captain has stood up, has gotten into base-to-base contact, is going to do a Mighty Blow. So basically, based on combat of 3, Mighty Blow, attacking a fallen opponent, I'm at dice +6, and you are at dice +2. 2. Okay, so 6s and 2s. 9 versus 6. So armor break of...
Doesn't matter.
What's your armor?
1.
1, okay.
So I believe that he is slain.
He is slain, that's right. It's too much.
You get a victory point.
Okay, so next up I'm going to activate my scientist. He is transfixed. No longer need to do will rolls because it's the turn after the transfixed happens. So now I just need to do regular activation rolls. He's in one long stick of my Vanguard Captain, so he activates on 2 pluses. I need at least 2 pluses in order to no longer be transfixed. Here we go. All good. 3 actions. Alright, this is a fool's errand, but we're doing it anyways. I took my cephalid scientist. He got 3 activations. I'm moving up into the back arc of the Mantis mech. We're going to do a mighty attack. So with the dice math, it is +3 for me, +5 to John, since I am in the back arc.
+4 because you charged.
+4 because I charged. So it's dice +5 for you.
Yep. +4 for you.
+4 for me. And you do not get to counterattack because I'm in your back arc.
Yep.
So let's see what happens.
Oh, +6 for me because I'm big.
Oh, that's right. +6? Yeah. Good. +6 because you're big.
Wow.
So nothing happens because he would have actually done damage to me, but since I'm in the back arc, he can't counterattack, so that basically means nothing happens.
Burned a couple of 1s.
That's right. Okay, well, I'm going to do a simple activation for him and take my single action to remove the entangled.
Oh, you still have
but
to
I still
make the
need
roll.
to do a strength test,
Yep.
though, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it's 3 dice. I
Yep.
need 4s or higher.
Yep.
Nope, only got 1. So he is still entangled.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to move on to this guy. He is transfixed. I need to do just like a normal activation.
Yep.
His activation number is 4. His quality is 4, excuse me. So we need 4 or more on at least 2 dice. Nope. And that ends my turn. Okay, so that was bottom of turn 8. We did not get unentangled. We did not get untransfixed. We did have the death of 2 player models, the Vanguard Marine and the Scientist. So let's do calculations of victory points. Where were we at last time?
I think we were at 10, or no, 12 to 10.
12 to 10, yep.
So you got 2 more for scoring models, so you're 14, and 1 more for killing my guy, so you're at 15.
Right.
And I get 1 more for scoring, so 11, and 1 for killing your guy, so 12. So 15 to 12.
All right, so we're at the bottom of 8. We're at 15 to 12, and we're going to move on to top of turn 9. Okay, top of turn 9, we're over to the Ataláns. John, what's your first activation?
I just decided to start off with this eel over here. He's trying to hit above his weight class, so he's going to take a stabby at the big mech there.
Okay, so we're both at dice +4?
+5.
+5. Okay, let's see what happens.
That would be nothing.
So I'm a 10, you are a
6.
6.
But I'm in your back arc, so nothing occurred.
Moving on to this combat over here, what's going on?
Leading off with the eel, he's going to try to hit the biomech in the back.
Okay, so we're both at dice +5 after the math. Let's see what happens. Woo, you are
I got
+2
an
on
8.
me.
So I beat you by 2.
2.
So
My-
what's your armor look like?
My armor is 2.
So no damage.
No damage. Okay, moving on to the next activation. All right, who are we activating next?
The sorceress.
All right,
We'll do multiple action activation, so 3 ups.
3 up,
2 successes.
and you got it. So 2 actions. Right, so with those 2 successes on that sorceress, what are we doing?
I'm going to try to transfix the Vanguard Captain.
Okay, Vanguard Captain has a will of 3, so I need 3 up on at least 2 dice. I'm
Fine.
remarkably fine. Okay.
It was worth a shot.
It was. Good shot. Okay, we're trying to activate the shark mech next. What are we doing?
Multiple action activation, I need 4s.
Okay.
Risky.
Very.
2 successes.
You got it. The Chiriniform mech is going to shoot the shock torpedo?
Shock torpedo.
All right, so basically, what are your mods?
A base of 3, +1 for the torpedo makes it a 4. The long range is -2, so 2, and +1 for aiming, so he's got a total of 3.
Total of adds 3. I've got 3
Yep.
based on my combat, and then +1 for natural armor, so I'm dice +4. So let's see what happens. 8 on mine.
Nothing.
And a whiffer.
Okay, so I'm going to try to activate the mech here.
Okay.
And I'm going to try multiple activation because there's some specific things I want to do.
Yeah, he's pretty tied up with a lot of guys there, and he needs to get them off. So
Yeah, I'd really like to kill off that guy is what my overall plan is.
that
but-
scientist, he's kind of well, MVP. He's like going for broke. All right, what do we got? You need
4s.
4s.
3 of them.
My goodness, you got all 3. All right, what are we doing?
I'm going to rotate him.
All right,
So he has both models in his front arc.
action 1.
And then I'm going to take a mighty blow attack at the scientist.
Ooh, vicious. Combat modifiers here are the Mantiform mech has +6 based on combat and
weapon and mighty blow.
And mighty blow, that's right, because you got multiple actions. The scientist, the poor scientist, is only +2, so let's see what happens. Does he live? Ooh, nice roll for the
9
scientist.
versus 8.
9 versus 8, so I won by 1.
I won by 1.
You won by 1.
But you have armor, and I don't have any armor break, so your scientist lives.
Scientist lives. He lives! So that is the wrap-up of the top of turn 9. Ataláns have done their turn, done some actions, tried to make some breakouts, didn't get there. We're going to continue on with the bottom of turn 9. Of turn 9, first activation, I'm going to take my Nautiloid Chrysalis. He's quality 3. He's within a long stick of my Vanguard, so he's quality 2. So I need 2 ups. I'm going to do multiple action activation.
And your turn ends.
Well, there you have it, folks. I was looking forward to a swift and total victory, but that happened.
You do score 2 more victory points.
I do score 2 more victory points, so let's count up what we've
and I
got.
only scored 1.
Right, so it's 15 plus 2 is
So you're
17, and you're at?
14, I think.
You're at 14.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll make sure our math is correct at the end, but I think I'm pulling ahead on victory points because I've got more characters within a medium stick of the center of the middle terrain piece. So we're going to move on to top of turn 10. Last turn, Ataláns. Top of turn 10, Ataláns. What are we doing?
I'm going to activate my sorceress multiple action activation.
Okay, we need
3s.
3s.
2 of them.
2. Okay, what are we doing?
I'm going to try to transfix that guy again.
Okay, let's do it again. So transfix, and I need to pass a...
Will save.
Will save 3 ups.
Yep.
Same as last time.
Failed.
Failed. He's transfixed. Next up for the Ataláns, Mantiform mech is going to do a single action activation, and attack the scientist. I'm at +2. 2. You are at +6. That's right. Same as last time. So here we go.
11.
8.
So I beat you by 3.
Armor break 2. Armor break nothing. Armor of 2. You still got 1 point, so 1 point against the body.
And he is dead.
The Mantiform mech kills the scientist, finally brings him down with a mighty blow, so he is dead. So next up, the eel is going to attack the Annihilator biomech. What's the numbers?
The eel's base is 3. The Annihilator is entangled, so I get +2, so 5. And now I am flanking, so I get another +1, so 6.
Right, and so the biomech is combat 4.
Yep.
He's got a weapon that's +1, so my adds are 5. So it's +6 versus +5.
I got an 8.
I got a 6, so you're above by 2.
I have no armor break.
No armor break, and I've got armor, so nothing happens.
My second eel is going to attack that mech.
Okay.
My base is 3, and he is transfixed, so I am at 5.
My combat is 4.
Plus your weapon.
Plus my weapon, which is...
I believe a 1.
I believe it's 1 as well, so let's go ahead and do 5 versus...
5.
5. Here we go.
Nothing.
Nothing. He's in my back arc, so I can't actually hurt him.
Plus you're transfixed.
And I am still transfixed. Okay, Shark Mech, what are we doing?
I'm going to try multiple activation. I need 4s.
Okay, living dangerously.
2 successes.
You have reversed your luck from the beginning of the game. So you got 2 actions. What are we doing?
I'm going to shock torpedo him.
Aim and fire like last time?
Yep.
All
So
right.
he's transfixed this time.
He is transfixed, so you get a little bit of bonus.
Yep, my base is 3.
Okay.
Plus 1 for weapon is 4. Minus 2 for range is 2.
Yep.
Plus 2 because he's transfixed is 4. Plus 1 for aiming is 5.
Okay, and so I am combat 3, and I've got natural armor, which is 4.
4.
Yep. So
5 versus 4.
5 versus 4. Here we go.
I got a 5. So I got a 10 total.
I got a 5 total, so you
I
doubled my combat score.
So I killed him.
So you kill him outright. The Vanguard Captain is dead.
And I score a victory point for that.
And you do score a victory point for that. All right, good shooting. What's next?
I'm going to take a shot at the Nautilus.
Okay.
My base combat is 2, and I get plus 1 for my weapon, so 3.
Okay, and the Nautiloid Chrysalis is combat 2.
Yep.
Is no other bonuses other than that, so my dice plus 2, your dice plus
3.
All right, here we go. So I'm 4, you are 5, you hit. I have armor of 2, I believe.
So nothing, I have no armor break.
Okay, no armor break. Doesn't go through the armor, so nothing. Hits, but no.
I do push back, but
You do push back. That's correct. Let's do that. Let's make sure we're doing this right.
And that's everything I've got.
Okay, so that is the top of turn 10. We're going to move to the bottom of turn 10, and this is last turn no matter what. So bottom of 10, Dark Mariners are up. So bottom of turn 10, Dark Mariners, first activation. I lost my leader, so I don't get my bonuses to activation. So I'm going to try to do multiple activations so that I can attack this sorceress. I can't shoot her because she's stealth. So basically I need to get 3 up on at least 2 dice in order to not lose my turn. So here we go. We're good. So I get 3 actions. So basically I'm going to do the following. Move. And then I'm going to attack. The Nautiloid is combat 2. His weapon is +1. His charge is +1. And
Mighty Blow.
Mighty Blow of the second and third action combined to Mighty Blow.
Just 1 because he took 1 action to move.
Right, 1 action to move, so that's my 3 actions total, exactly. So he's at +5, and your sorceress is at?
+2.
All right, for basic combat. So here we go, +5 and +2.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
You didn't double it.
I did not double it, but certainly put a wound on her.
Yep.
Right? Armor break. Does she have armor? Does it matter?
She has a dodge skill, but that doesn't matter in this case.
Okay, got it. So basically we put 1 point of damage on her body.
She has 3 wounds.
All right, so doesn't kill her, but she's wounded. All right, moving on. Okay, so we're going to try to end the transfixing here.
We did.
We did. He is no longer transfixed. Yay!
And he has 2 actions.
And he has 2 actions. Okay, the heavy combat biomech has broken his transfixion, and so now he can attack. So we've worked out the dice math. It is biomech is at +6, and you are at +3. All right, so here we go. What do we get? So I'm at 11. You're at 4.
Do you do 2 wounds?
I do 2 wounds because I double your combat score.
And you're going to love this.
Yes.
You shocked yourself.
I did.
So
don't play with electrical outlets.
So let me see if my guy's dead, and you need to make a will test.
Okay, will test. I'm at will 4.
You are fine.
I'm fine. The heavy combat biomech has killed the eel, so he's dead. And I think we're going to call that game. Okay, so we've done the final tally of the points. So basically, John, what were your secret objectives in this game?
My secret objective, the first one was to touch 3 terrain features, and the second was to kill a leader, animist, shaman type model, and I completed both those objectives.
Which you did. So your total score, based on the number of people that you had over the turns, close to the middle of the objective, was total of 19, with your scenery bonus and your hit squad bonus. So you've got a total of 19. I had a total of 23 for the Dark Mariners, with both my Terminator special objective, which was what again?
To destroy a mech construct.
So I destroyed the big crab mech construct, right?
And a meal.
And an eel, that's correct. And so I also had the scenery bonus, where if I touch 3 scenery pieces and kind of explore them, then I get a little bit of a bonus there. So the final score is 23 Dark Mariners, 19 for the Ataláns. That was a really close, dynamic game. Lots of fun. And we're going to move on to our post-game analysis. Okay, so that wraps up our first battle report of DeepWars, Ataláns versus Dark Mariners. I think I can safely say that this was a really fun game with a lot of back and forth. A lot of hits and misses in terms of, abilities to get things done. Going 10 turns, going the full length of the turns with, the body count only really starting to stack up a little bit near the end. It was very tactical and very, it felt like you had to really kind of consider each move, and you really want to pay attention to when and how you activate people. Whether you want to try to go for that multiple actions or go for that single activation. That's a really key component of the game. John, what are your thoughts here?
I agree with what you said there. I think There was some real strangeness on this game. The fact that both of us rolled 3 1s.
That was very wild, wasn't it? I was not expecting that at all. But hey, it happens, right?
It does happen. I mean, the odds on it are extreme, but that's the danger of it. And you have to remember then that even models that are rolling 2+ to activate do occasionally fail on that.
They do. Yep. And you rolled 3 1s, which just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, and it really kind of neutered a lot of that model's effectiveness afterwards because I wasn't able then to utilize his spellcasting effects.
Right.
I think that there are a lot of synergies and balances with the Ataláns that I don't quite have a handle on yet.
Well, this being your first real game that you've played, other than kind of, you and I talking tactically and some skirmish stuff, but this is our first real game with them. And this is my first real game with the Dark Mariners as well. I have to say that spell, that transfixing spell that you cast when all of my guys were kind of over here, clumped together, that really put a damper in my day. That was powerful.
And that was about the only thing I had that evened the game, to be honest, because I had a lot coming down on me. I do greatly enjoy the magic on this. Looking at going in the future, I think I would definitely include additional spellcasters with my Ataláns, as that seems to be a very powerful game mechanic. You need reliable ones.
Yep.
I would like to go towards more of the attack type spells, so because I had a lot of zonal control type stuff, and I enjoy that a lot.
Yep, that was a very interesting mechanic. That wall that you cast up and the spell that caused the transfixing, that was really, really powerful and really kind of... It did absolutely kept you in the game, I felt. I think, and I really kind of had to... It became your game. Even though I had more personality characters closer to the middle, I was really conscious to play the scenario. And I think, like a lot of good tactical games, DeepWars, if you play the scenario, you're going to do well.
And I think that's one of the weaknesses I had, is I had this character personality model that never got within a foot of the center scenario. And it's tough when your models have... Again, you need to, even with only like a couple of basic models in the group, I noticed not having the bonus to activation from a leader model.
Absolutely. I think another thing that kind of... struck me is that 7, 8 models on the table, that's a good size force. I mean, in DeepWars it seems like you're starting to really hit your stride with a really big meaningful game around 8 models, and that was kind of a nice change of pace for me, is that I don't have to move a million models across the table in order to have a very deep, meaningful game. Again, another thing that strikes me about DeepWars is all the terrain you see here is pre-painted. It's easy to acquire. You're able to get a game really quickly and make it look really vibrant. John, thank you for bringing all the terrain. Most of the terrain, I guess I should say. It's really cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yep. So I think in terms of the mechanics in the Ataláns and the Dark Mariners, I think we obviously need to do more games. I think we've got the rules down pretty well at this point. We're having a lot of fun playing the game, and I think next time we'll probably either see a little bit mixing of the forces in terms of either changing up the army lists a little bit, or maybe even changing some factions to see somehow some of the other factions at play. All right, that's what we've got for this battle report. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some links to some other important information, interesting information, and that's a wrap. Thanks.